Jerry Mallory here for SB Nation and PrivateTrade.com. Hope you're staying warm like I am. We're here to bring you some heat in the form of NFL draft talk. Now, when it comes down to predicting the Lions' first round draft pick, the further you get away from the number one pick, the harder it is to correctly prognosticate who your team will choose. It's simple. Number one pick, all the options are on the board. By the time you get to number 23, there's so many variables, so many trades, things and circumstances that can happen. Fortunately for us, we do have a formula, and it's the best player available formula. It's something that Martin Mayhew, Tom Lawine, and company have notoriously been known for the last few years in the first round. So how do you go about getting this best available player? What may constitute someone falling to you? Because essentially when you're at 23, if you're picking the best available player, you're oftentimes picking a guy that falls in the draft all the way down to number 23. Maybe they're a top 10 projected pick, top 15. They fall, and by means of that, they're oftentimes the best player available. Well, there are three categories that we're going to look at today. Obviously, there are many factors as to why a person may fall in the draft, and maybe they can fall right in the lap of the Detroit Lions. But the three things that we're going to look at today: number one, it's NFL drafting trends. Number two, we're going to take a look at individuals who have a poor combine, thus they fall, although they're very talented. Just watch the tape and the film from college. And number three, the D value of certain positions. So we have a little video with some fun pictures to show you three potential scenarios where someone could fall. And we have 4 candidates total, guys who could fall in the draft, thus be the best available player for the Lions, predicting who Martin Mayhew and company may pull the trigger on. Let's take a look. A notable player falling in the draft is a trend in and of itself. You look at Aaron Rodgers a few years ago, Sharif Floyd, guys who are slated to be top 10 picks and for whatever reason slip all the way down into the 20s. Now, if Amari Cooper falls to 23, he would certainly be a strong candidate for best player available. Now, why might he fall all the way there? We've seen him projected and mocked as early as going number 4, number 5. Well, it's simple. If we look at this draft, Devontae Parker, as well as Kevin White, along with Amari Cooper, are all pretty close in terms of talent. When this thing is said and done, any of them can go number 1, so it's easy. A team falls in love with Kevin White more, he goes first. Then the next team falls in love with Devontae Parker more, he goes second. So being the third wide receiver taken in this year's draft could mean you slip all the way down into the 20s. Keep in mind, last year was the year of the wide receiver. That being said, a lot of teams filled that need of getting a young, impactful wide receiver. And I'm not just talking about your Sammy Watkins or your Odell Beckham Jr., even a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers who have a Martavius Bryant or a Devontae Adams, John Brown with the Arizona Cardinals. A lot of teams feel comfortable with their young receivers that they got last year. So very conceivably, we can see a guy like Amari Cooper falling all the way down to the 20s. The NFL Combine can do wonders for some guys, and then for some, they're more football players. Their game film speaks volumes. But when you struggle at the Combine, sometimes you will fall in the draft. This could be the case for Ereck Flowers. Now, this guy is athletic. He's big. He's strong. But a guy like TJ Clemmings, who is a converted tight end, or a guy like Leo Collins, for as big as he is an athletic monster. Guys like this will stand out a little bit more in the Combine, whether it be in the 40 or the vertical, even the broad jump. That being said, Ereck Flowers, very solid. His game film speaks for itself, and so if he starts to fall because some guys have increased their stock in the Combine, he could be sitting there at 23, could be a definite option for the Lions to draft, and he would feel a need, and also the mantra that Mayhew and company likes to go by with best player available. The last category that we mentioned is playing at a devalued position. Now, this has changed over the years. It's gradual, but we see it now. It's clear, it's present. The running back position has been devalued in the NFL over the last, we'll say, 10 years. Whereas before, we would see running backs in the top 10 routinely. Last year, there were no running backs even taken in the first round. It's simple. The shelf life on running backs aren't that long, and it's becoming more of a receiver's game. Quarterback passing with the rules on defense. So running backs are devalued to the point where a guy like Melvin Gordon or Todd Gurley could be available at 23. Gordon, with all the flashes and the things that he's done, we've seen guys as talented as him slip before Todd Gurley, the same thing, especially so with him because of the injury scare tearing his ACL. If either one of these two guys are available at 23, I'd be hard-pressed to see a guy that has done more on the field with the game tape than these two. If they're there at 23, I wouldn't be surprised if Mayhew pulled the trigger and drafted either one of them with his first-round pick. All right, guys, that's going to do it. As you know, there's many other variables. Character concerns can cause a guy to fall, injury history, scheme fit, etc., etc. What are your favorite reasons? What are some players you think may fall to us at 23? Maybe they're projected to be top 10, top 15. Of the players that we mentioned, which ones do you like? Which ones don't you like? Which ones seem far-fetched? Like, hey, Jerry, Amari Cooper going to 23. No way it's going to happen. I'm sure a lot of people said the same thing about Cordero Patterson a few years ago. He was a surefire top 10 pick, and he failed and failed and failed in that draft as well. So leave your thoughts and comments in the allocated section. Don't forget to subscribe. Keep watching. Tell a friend. Tell that friend to tell a friend. And we'll be back in a day or so talking more Detroit Lions. So until next time, this has been, as always, Jerry Mallory for SB Nation and PrivateTroy.com.